a good governance advocacy group. All right, so much has happened between last year and, of course, early this year. I would rather want to start with some of your write-up, your trilogy, where in one of them you said, I don't want to talk about a president who is giving his New Year speech from outside the country. What do you mean?
No, it's an irony of sorts that across the world, getting into the new year, most world leaders spoke to their citizens from within their homeland. And very tragically, unfortunately, and pretty shamelessly, our president was away. I wouldn't know what to call it. On holiday, I don't know, you know. But I think that talking about our country and discussing Nigeria deeply, what bothers the carapace of my mind is the fact that we seem to have the most unserious presidency. And I say without fear of querulous critics. I say with every sense of patriotism and commitment. I would rather that we have a president who have minders that are concerned about our country, who have minders that are critical about his approach to leadership, who have minders that care about global perception of Africa's most populous nation, that has wonderful perception and are concerned about how the world sees the largest black nation in the world. And pretty unfortunately, we have those who are ensconced, those who are captive to court jesting, who think that our president does no wrong, who think that our president is infallible, who think that our president can govern from anywhere. And I think that what we must do as a people, because I've said time without number that the most beautiful street in the city called brotherhood, the most beautiful street in the city called nationhood, the most beautiful street in the city called progress is critical opposition. The most beautiful street in nationhood is patriotism. And sadly, those who govern, those who superintend, are unaware that when we criticize leadership, we're indeed interested in making leadership responsible and responsive to the people. And so for our president to have left our country on the 30th, I think, 30th day of the month of December, 2 days to the new year, and told us he was going to Europe. One other question I ask is, Europe is a country, in a continent of about 40-something nations, 44 or 48. Now, those who speak on behalf of our president tells us that our president is going to Europe. We're in Europe. And then they also went further to say that he was going to attend a program in Dubai, the UAE. And I made my research, and I found out that that program was actually going to hold on the 11th of January. So you ask yourself, what is our president going to be doing in Europe from the 30th of December up until the 11th of January? That's why I said that we have a leadership that is grossly shameless, a leadership that is overwhelmed by wanderlust, a leadership that does not care about how our people perceive governance, and very sadly, a leadership that does not understand that consensus building, trust, and commitment to the collective good should be summum bonum. And I say this advisedly. You don't leave your country when your citizens, the moral latitude of your people is low, psychological latitude of your people is low. People are being killed night and day. The Haramists are dishing out human barbecues. The insurgents are killing people with reckless abandon. And insecurities are at the highest level. And you're leaving your country without telling us where you're actually headed. I think that the time has come for those who superintend our nation to deal with issues of state with absolute seriousness.
How would you assess the last 2 years plus 3 years of Tinubu's presidency?
Grossly lethargic, grossly uneventful. 2.5 years of talk, less action. And I'll give you empirical analysis. On the one hand, the Minister of Works is telling us that we have never had such a boisterous action, ditto road work and road construction. On the other hand, Nigerians, those traveling from the west to the east, were sleeping on the roads 2 nights, 3 nights, because they had to visit home for the Yuletide. So you ask yourself, who's lying to who? And that's why in one of those pieces I said that the time for spokespersons of our president to lie less is now. You know, tragically, we have a presidency that has elevated falsehood and perfidy to an act of state. You know, I am not saying that we want to see a president who performs magic in a few days or in a few months. I am saying that where you're doing well, say it, and people will cross-check and fast-check it and say, oh, thumbs up to our president and his minders. But where you're not doing well, if you're not conceding to the fact that it is difficult for you, do not lie. Do not tell Nigerians that it is Uhuru when we all know that it is far from that. And I think that the time has come for us to ask our dear president and those who are around him to learn to call a spade by its name. You truly build confidence when you're able to tell the people that, countrymen, we have fantastic ideas. We're working at them. We're developing them. We're doing our best to make Nigeria better. It's not been easy, but surely we're going to do it. Then to look us in the face and tell us that we have never seen a president who's been this adventurous. And I ask myself, where's the adventure? You say the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road. It's not up to Ore yet. It's not near Shagamu yet. You tell me about the Sokoto way against Badagry and all that. And you ask yourself, where are the sites of these boisterous and futuristic projects? I am more concerned about, I'm Igbo. And there's this Igbo phraseology, for the benefit of our listeners, I want to say that we have this phraseology that says, if you can expand, stay well the way you are, Now, if you have so many roads that are dysfunctional, the first thing to do is fix them. The first thing to do is make sure those roads are functional before you go on a white elephant projects. Now I'll give you a practical instance. The Benin, Shagamu, Ore, Edo Express Road was grossly dysfunctional. It's been dysfunctional for decades. Now, those who were going for Christmas will naturally traverse that route. Instead of fixing that road and making sure it's motorable, you're telling me about a coastal way that is adventurous. And then I should think that we know that the primary reason for leadership and governance is for the security of lives and properties. It's for the well-being of the people. So what should motivate governance is how to make life better for the people. There's a line in the American Charter, we hold this truth to be self-evident, that all men were created equal and given certain inalienable rights. But there's a line that excites me. All this is for the pursuit of happiness. Now, if we have leadership that cares about the pursuit of happiness here, that cares about the well-being of the people, then the first thing Umahi, Tinubu, and his government should do is fix the irregular routes so the Nigerian people can traverse, can travel, And then when you tell me that you're pursuing projects that will not immediately impact the people, when life, every Nigerian is about government to himself. Do you know that?
Sure.
I provide my security. No disparaging the Nigerian security services. I'm not undermining their efforts. I have my megad. They work on shift duties. I provide my electricity largely because I don't get more than 10 hours of light supply. I provide my water. This same government tells you they'll have to tax you. These are the stories of the past 2.5 years. And then they have told us that one of the most boisterous projects is a tax review and a tax law. As I talk with you, we have 2 gazetted in the documents. We're talking about forgery. Those who speak on behalf and for the president are saying there's no forged document. We're talking about forgery. The National Assembly is saying, oh, we have harmonized. But as I talk to you, I have 2 gazetted documents. I can forward them to you. Same tax law. 2 different gazetted documents. If you don't have them, I have them. I'll forward them to you. Maybe when you're airing this interview, you can put them, juxtapose them. Some, in one case, is 90 pages, same document. Another 92 pages, same document, 2 different laws. There's another one that is 130 pages, another one 128. I don't know what we make of leadership in this country. And I think that the tragedy of all of this is the fact that when we're politicking and campaigning in 2022, 2023, when we saw bishops, or non-bishops if you like, people who were wearing gasoks, who were picked from Nyanya Bridge, who were picked from Wuse Park, and they told us those men were priests who have come to endorse the Muslim ticket. That was forgery and fakery, until we saw videos where they were fighting for monies from APC leaders. And so we knew they were procured men in cassock. When we read and watched issues as to certificate, forgery, age, fakery, and all sorts, we didn't know it was going to extend to issues of our law. And nothing bothers me more than the fact that, because I'm a lawyer first, that we have laws that are forged. That's the deep in the nadir. That's the deep in the abyss. That's the deep into shamelessness. And these are the things so, I'm actually trying to preempt the next write-up I'm doing, And it's simply, I'm saying, welcome back, Mr. President. And what I said in one of I'm going to put it out in the next few hours or days. I said, whilst you were away, your citizens saw 2 different laws. They're still debating whether it's forged or not. But there are 2 different laws. The FIRS, now Nigerian Revenue Service, is saying, oh, we have the one we are implementing. And then the one that the Office of the Speaker released as the authentic document is different from the one they're implementing. Oh, that's how bad it is, Victor.
Can't we hold the National Assembly responsible for that?
Do they want to be held responsible?